Hey coaches, Cody Wilson of theassistantcoach.net. I wanted to talk to you for a minute about something that I think is pretty important, especially as offensive coaches when getting started. It's kind of a base level thing that we all need to know or be somewhat familiar with, and it's about defensive fronts. I'm personally of the belief that there are about 8 defensive fronts. I know that you're thinking, wow, I think I saw 8 defensive fronts in the first 5 games of the year, but there are a bunch of them. There really are. There are more than 8 different looks that you will see from a defense, but that doesn't mean there's more than 8 fronts. Those fronts are just like how we'll have a base formation on offense, and we'll tag that formation to be a little bit different. Defenses do the same thing. And those 8 fronts I have on the board here. We've got an over front, and an over front is defined as having a 4-man front with a 3 technique to the tight end side, to the strong side. So that is an over front. Then we have the opposite of that, which is an under front, and if there is a tight end, the 3 technique will be to the weak side, away from the tight end. Now, oftentimes, if there is a tight end, they'll have a linebacker or a safety or somebody walk down on the line of scrimmage to press the Y. If there is no tight end, they're just putting the 3 technique away from the strength. So they might do the 3 into the boundary or away from the pass strength, the 3 receiver side, something like that. Then we've got the traditional 4-3 look, which I call over stack. And the defining characteristic of the over stack is that we've got this linebacker lined up in between those A gaps. He is stacked in the A gap. So it's really taken the over front where we had 2 linebackers where they were over the guards, and we're putting one of them over the A gap. So essentially over the center. He could be a little bit off shaded one way or another, but that makes an over stack. And typically you're going to have some other guys come into the box, but that would be an over stack. Then we have our 3-man front family, which is Okie, which is essentially a 3-2. These days is what we're seeing is the tight front, where they take the ends and they put them both in 4 eyes. All that is an adjustment, a tag to the Okie front. It's still the same basic premise of having a 3-man front with 2 linebackers. They'll oftentimes, even if somebody's not sold out to doing the tight front, they will oftentimes take the weak side end and line him up in a 4-eye and walk this linebacker down on the edge so that you're getting pressure off the backside. Or they will slant the strong side and go ahead and blitz this play side guy down. And it kind of depends on what you're being hurt by as to what they'll do. And then you can use the same terminology to tag, keeping the family the same, and tag the Okie into a Okie stack again, where we bring the Mike backer down inside over the A gap, over the nose, over the center, inside the A gaps. Okay, so those 5 base defensive fronts are the ones that I see the most of. Now, most of the teams I've been part of are not quite as run heavy with lots of people in the backfield or anything. Some of these other ones are more for those type of teams or for heavy run downs. So we had the over, under, overstack, Okie stack. Now we have what I call a bear front. Now I don't have any linebackers because it could be 1 or 2 or 3, depending on the formation and what you're trying to do. But the backers do not have any relevance to calling this front. The thing that makes a bear front is the fact that these 3 players, both guards in the center, are all 3 covered up. Now, they might be covered up, all 3 head up. They might be 2-3 techniques and a nose. The nose might be shaded one side. They might even do all 3 of them shaded. It might be a 2-eye, a 1, and a 3. But the fact that all 3 of those players are covered up makes that a bear front. That's really good, a really good defensive front if people are trying to take away your ability to run gap schemes where you're pulling linemen. Then the last two that we have a solid front. A solid front means that all three of these players are going to be covered. If you've got a tight end, the guard, tackle, and tight end to the strong side, all three are going to be covered up. Okay, so 3, 5, and a 9 typically is what that's going to be, and that's a solid front. Teams will do that to you if they're trying to take away your ability to double team. That is also an answer to a lot of gap schemes, is taking away the ability to double team. Also, if you're a zone heavy team, a lot of zone teams, especially they're an inside zone team, like to get these really strong combo double team blocks. You take away a little bit of the ability to do that, and you're only left with the possibility of getting one double team right here, and then you have linebackers who can run free. And again, I did not draw the linebackers because they are not defining characteristic of this front. And then lastly, this is essentially your goal line package here, is I call this 6-1 Tuff. Now, it's not always a 6-1. It might be a 6-2, or in this case, I drew it as kind of a 6-3 with these two safeties being close down. This is normally going to be a goal line situation or very short yardage situation, but they can play a little bit with the way that they do it. I've got two tackles in the A gaps here, and I have the ends lined up as 3s. They could very easily change that and go as ends like they normally do as 5s. It just depends on the defensive coach, how they like it. They're trying to stuff, wedge or dive or quarterback sneak or something right here. Or they're trying to take away like stretch or toss or something. But you're going to have essentially 6 guys on the line of scrimmage and then 1 to 2 to 3 linebackers in the game. Just kind of depends on exactly how you're lining up. But again, guys, those are what I deem as the 8 basic defensive fronts. Okay, so we had over, under, overstack. That's the 4-man fronts, the base fronts. Then we have Okie Stack. Then we have our kind of unique ones where we have bear, solid, and 6-1 Tuff. I hope that helps you out, and I hope that you can find something in this where you're able to help categorize defenses a whole lot more when you're doing breakdowns and stuff of teams for the week. I know I use this as my breakdown when I'm in huddle. I have a column that's defensive front and a defensive front adjustment. So that's how I make the difference. I can tell the families. I put in defensive front, I put the family that these defensive fronts fall into, and then for the adjustment, I take and I type in whether it's Okie 4I, okay, or Okie tight, or whatever the different adjustments are that they make to the defense. A lot of them are going to be very similar, where it's just the front and I'm tagging what the linebackers are doing, because they could be in an Okie stack, but they've got the Sam walked outside of the box. So I'll overstack, Sam walk goes in the adjustment column. So something like that. But anyway, guys, hope you like this. If you did, please give it a like, thumbs up, subscribe, both here on the YouTube channel and at my website, theassistantcoach.net. All right, enjoy.